Alright, so start of the race here. I was feeling confident, but my legs were feeling a little tight. Just trying to... That was my daughter. Just trying to kind of set myself in the pack. I started farther back than I normally would for a race just because I know I haven't been feeling my normal self. One thing I thought was interesting was the line everyone took through here, because the tighter line was inside the grass. And it probably would have been faster, but I don't know, people didn't take it, so whatever. Going into the first part of this long climb here, my RPMs are a little higher than I wanted, but I was trying to make sure I wasn't grinding. And I'm just trying to settle in and find my groove here. My legs were definitely tight. A bit of a downhill recovery here. I was trying to stretch my legs a little bit, catch my breath, and just kind of let gravity do its thing. Riding a heavy hardtail bike, so I don't have to push hard in the downhill sections. A little bump there. You couldn't see it on the video, but it was a good bump to jar you a bit. This was dried up nicely. It was pretty wet during a couple of the pre-rides. Take it far out there and come back in. Can't really see on the camera because it's kind of blown out from the sun and overcast, but there's a small pond lake here, and it's such a beautiful view. The start of this race definitely had some amazing scenicness to it. That is even a word. Coming here, we're coming into the last climb here, coming out of the campground, and it's really sandy through here, kind of soft. The middle is kind of the better place to be right there, but as you can see, everyone's just coming right over to the left, because that's where you want to be once you get past the sand. It's very washed out and huge chunky rocks, so rolling along the grass here is where you wanted to be, and that's pretty much what everyone did. And it's a slow grind, I think. At peak, it's like 12%. So if you look at the bottom there, you can see the grade going up. But people are kind of cutting over here. The guy kind of shot through there, messed my line up a bit, but I was able to recover from that and just kind of kept grinding. Slowly but surely, trying to keep my RPMs high so I didn't wear my legs out. Could have maybe pushed a little harder, but again, I could really start feeling my lungs tightening up here. And it was pretty rough. Legs weren't burning, but they were like numb. Numb's not the right word, but they weren't feeling it. I just wanted to stay in the saddle because it was a 33-mile race. I know I got a long way to go. I'm not going to try to kill myself on this first climb. I knew there was a fast downhill section coming after this, and I definitely shine in downhill sections versus climbing. Almost to the top here, just around this bend is where the end of the climb is. And there's my teammate again, kind of stuck in my line there because cutting that corner was really the best way to go. But that's all right. They have mechanical. They needed to take care of it. From here, it was just grinding out a couple more feet. RPMs are looking good. Speed's a little slow. Heart rate's looking pretty good for how hard I feel I'm pushing. You'll see that guy in the white jersey that just passed me a little later in the race. That dude, too. They get ahead of me here, and I'm able to kind of catch back up to him at the later part of the race.
Huh? Let's get this. Yeah.
There's one of my teammates there, and he's like, let's get this. We're both on mountain bikes. We know the downhill section's coming. And this is where you see I just start hauling butt. I can push hard through these sections. Being on a mountain bike with a front suspension, wider tires, it was definitely easier to roll through here, but I definitely ran into a lot of traffic, and I was probably more aggressive than I should have been, considering some of the other riders, but I wanted to put some time between me and the two teammates that were just behind me, honestly. Well, it's hard to see with my pack hose in front of the camera there, but I'm pedaling pretty good here, picking up some good speed. They definitely took it a little easy on these corners. I wanted to take them a lot harder and a little tighter, but it was kind of hard to do that with the traffic coming in. Like I cut right through here because that was the way better line to go. It saved so much time, like at least a second or two. In my head, I thought, man, this dude just cut right in front of me. He didn't know I was there. It's not his fault. I saw some riders take a wrong turn there because of the sign colors. They had black signs for running and red signs for the bike race, but you'll see that kind of be confusing later too. Lots of traffic through here. This is a good spot to push. This was like a negative grade, so you could easily push. It was a little soft from the rain that we had the day before in the mud, but it wasn't that bad. Definitely think for the way this started, the way this race started and the way it ended, a mountain bike was a good way to go if you had it set up properly. Another one of my teammates up there in the black and blue jersey. Got some water coming here. Gotta take it kind of wide on the way out, and we're on the first part of the gravel course now. I was definitely having a hard time breathing by this point. I'm trying to clear my throat out, which is disgusting sounds. People are passing the downhill. They're coming past me now. They're sprinting through here because we're going to make up the time. One thing about this course is that there's a lot of steep hills. They're not very long, but they're very punchy. You see me take my hand off my handlebars there, so I start reaching down for my inhaler because my lungs were tighter than my shoelaces. I think I ended up taking 4 hits of it. You can tell I lost some time and speed doing that. Guy in the green jersey is a guy I went to high school with that we reconnected in this race, which was kind of cool. And I was like, man, I don't want him to beat me, so I started pushing here to try to make an attack on him. Bad idea in the long run, I think, but it was all right. Right now, I'm just trying to find my groove. Like, my lungs are still kind of burning and super tight. Trying to just set my rhythm, my breathing, my pedaling, my cadence. One thing I'll say is that a lot of these roads were pretty washboarded out and lots of potholes. Made for an interesting time. I took that turn way too wide. I have no idea what I was thinking when I did that. I was just trying to hold my speed through it, but staying in the saddle, and I know I can't make tight turns at speed while I'm still in the saddle. I really should have just stood up and pushed the bike down. It's kind of wild, so it looks flat on the camera, but I'm at a 3% grade, and I'm pushing pretty hard. I think I'm in second to last gear, trying to keep the RPMs up, and I'm only doing 10 miles an hour. Like I said, these hills in Metamora, Michigan are no joke. They're short and punchy, and with that punchiness comes some crazy steepness.
How you doing?
You hear me talking about my asthma because, yeah, I have exercise-induced asthma, and this part of the race was really, really tough for me. So, this little girl has an Iceman jersey on here.
Woo, Iceman!
Which I thought was awesome, so I called it out because Iceman's such a fun race. This is Thornville here, and I was kind of looking forward to this, but not looking forward to it. It's a lot of punchy climbs to the top, and then a really fast downhill section. But it's got a lot of really loose gravel on it, a lot of washboard leading into it and at the bottom of the big hill. So it was nice having the suspension for it. I can see just up ahead of me is one of my teammates. He's a really fast guy, so I'm thinking, man, if I'm gaining on him, he must be really having a bad day. I think he slowed down a little bit to let me catch up so we could work together, but I'm not sure.
Doing all right, Tom?
Yeah. Don't have it today.
Yeah. I went a little too hard at the start. My lungs are on fire.
Hear me complaining a lot about my lungs and my legs throughout the race.
Figure I'll back off for a bit.
Yep.
But that's all I could think about. For a while here, I was thinking,
Yeah.
fighting with my dang saddlebag here. Such a bad spot to be trying to zip a saddlebag up while you're riding because it's so washboardy right here. And there's only a few good spots to be. Just past the turnout for the 19-mile course. So now it's just us 33 milers and any slow 57 milers that we might end up passing, which I doubt we did. I think if I passed anybody, it was just 33 milers. But I also know that's the spot where I can really start pushing, and you can see that I start doing it because some small hills here, but you're pretty much at the top. It's either this hill here or the next one's like the very top, and yeah, it's this one here. You really start seeing me push through here because I know it's all downhill from here. I unlock my suspension and just kind of start dieseling in. Because I know the fast downhill's coming and I'm trying to use my weight and power into it to my advantage, which I think I just pulled my teammate along through here mostly. Maybe I made up some time on someone behind me, I'm not sure. Here's me getting into tuck so you can't see. And you can see I get some speed through here. It's hard to tell, but the bike is definitely rattling around through here. And it's all washboardy right there. Super vibraty, but suspension help. This rider up here dropped their phone or their computer or something, and they found it. So it was pretty bumpy through there. If you didn't have suspension, you were getting rocked. I know my teammate was up behind me pretty close. Coming into a very busy intersection here. Luckily, they have these guys with pom-poms that tell you to slow down or keep your speed. Tom grabs onto this dude's wheel, and I try to push to keep up too, to grab onto Tom's wheel, but I didn't have the power. I was trying, and I just couldn't push it. See that they slowly pull away from me, and they link up with another guy a little later on, and then they just are gone. That draft really helps. As you can tell by here, they're just barely in sight. Luckily though, there's a turn coming up here, and I can tell that they missed it. So that worked into my advantage a little bit.
Turn around!
I called out to them there because I didn't want them to get lost and really get frustrated. Sure, I could have just been like, I'll just keep my opinion to myself here, but again, that's not good sportsmanship, right? I didn't want my teammate to get that far behind if possible, but it did take them a bit to catch up to me. Yeah, here's where they caught back up to me here. I don't know why I got over, because I'm polite maybe. I put myself in some rough there, but maybe there's a car coming up here, so that's probably it. And again, I try to get into the group and catch back on, but I just didn't have that power to make it happen and hold it. It's the hills that really killed me. They were kind of fighting for position there a little bit, but I couldn't hold it. I think if I could have gotten between two people, it would have been a little easier, but trying to catch up to them, I was struggling. So I just decided, you know what, I'm not gonna try to waste the match here and just let them go away eventually. Not sure what Tom was doing here. He keeps looking back. I don't know if it's for traffic or what. He holds them for a while, but eventually I catch back up with him. So I don't know if he just decided to drop them because he couldn't hold the pace anymore, or he just wanted to work with me. I'm not sure. But you can tell he obviously slowed down right there. Not sure what that was about. But it was nice riding with a teammate instead of by myself in the middle of nowhere. Here we're coming into the Pollyant, and you hear me let him say, hey, let me pull you through here.
I was trying to pull you through here.
I knew I could pull him through here because I've done a lot of practicing in this section, and I know I can hold a decent pace through here. It's pretty chunky and rocky, so I just unlocked my suspension and pushed through. I think this is probably one of the few spots where I pushed the hardest, and I pushed for a good while through here. Eventually a couple other people caught up to us, and we worked together for a little bit.
Huh?
Yeah, Tom kind of pushed me to grab this guy's wheel, which I knew I had it in me to grab his wheel. He was slightly faster, but I was able to kind of get up behind him and push. Again, though, my bike was better suited for this. This part, maybe not as much, as their bikes. Gravel bikes can handle this limestone just fine. The next section coming up, though, is definitely where my bike really had the advantage. After we cross the road here into this grass, this is where having a mountain bike kind of came in handy. It was a little harder to push than a gravel bike through here, but it handled the grass a lot better. And I was able to push kind of through this section. And it's a long section of grass, too. I think the guy that was in front of me tucked in behind me, and my teammate Tom. We were just kind of along for the ride through here. Some gravelly kind of track through here, but it got slick in spots. Not going that fast, according to the numbers. It felt like I was flying through here. We're a little over halfway through this section, and that dude passes me with the other guy that was going back and forth with me at the beginning of the race. He's kind of caught back up. Trying to stay on this dude's wheel, let him hop in. Here, he's a bigger guy. He'll have a bigger draft on than I would, so he'll help pull us a little easier. I could definitely tell it was slightly easier to push being behind him, and I think I gained at least 1 mile an hour, at least a couple more RPMs, which helps keep you from being so fatigued. I always struggle with drafting in areas like this, especially with guys I don't know, because they could go down at any second. You don't know. You don't know what their skill level is or their fitness level. They start dropping back or whatever. So I'm constantly watching their tire to see what's going on, and then looking up ahead to see what's going on. Here we are coming out of the last bit of the Pollyant. I take this kind of awkward again, wide, a little slow. Try to catch back up with these guys and just kind of all hold together. I should have called out, hey, let's work together. I was thinking like, hey, let's work together, but I didn't actually say it out loud, and that's probably would have helped if we all just kind of stayed together and pushed each other through. This section was so hard. You were going directly into the wind with fields in front of you, so there was nothing but a wall you would have to push through. And it was not fun.
think
No, we're on.
post is going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I realized my seat pole was sinking down because my legs are starting to feel a little more tired in spots that they normally wouldn't have, and my legs weren't extending as far. But this is kind of the return trip now. We were on Hunter's Creek, about as farthest east as we're going to get. Now it's just all the way back to the Hunter's Creek Hunt Club and then the D-Bar A Scout Ranch at the finish line here. A little jog here. Start grabbing some gels right here because I know it's not going to be too much longer until we get to the Scout Ranch, which is all grass and uphill. I take 2 gels. It was about 200 calories, I think, between the two, and one had 35 milligrams of caffeine. And yeah, I think it helped. It gave me enough time for it to kick in. You know, heart rate's kind of high, so it absorbs a little slower. But my heart rate wasn't that high throughout this entire race. I probably could have pushed a little harder if I was feeling better. Definitely had the endurance for it in terms of heart rate, but my legs and lungs didn't have it. Here we are coming into the Metamora Hunter's Creek Hunt Club. Doesn't look so bad right here. You're like, oh, it's going to be a kind of gravel 2-track. I just unlocked my suspension because I know it's not. It's going to turn to grass. And real bumpy hayfield grass. And all you can see is just grass. That's all you can see. This first section wasn't so bad. As you get farther along, it got kind of worse. Until they at least drive this part somewhat regularly. But it was the only time I felt the wind kind of behind me, helping me push. Started gaining on that dude that was in front of me earlier, and then I kind of lost him a little farther into the field. A lot of people were confused because of the black arrow signs, not the red ones, because the red ones were for cycling and the black ones were for the running, but they just used the same arrows here because the running course went through here as well. Notice this guy here. I wasn't expecting to pass anyone through here that passed me earlier in the race, but this guy passed me a while ago. And that's why I said woo, because I was like, oh, I knew I was passing someone who passed me, so it was nice to pass someone back, especially in this section. It was kind of rough. This section was nice because it was kind of like gravel 2-track, but it led into a pretty big climb to get out of it. The grade kind of spikes once you get to it.
Stay right.
So this is another spot I thought, oh great, I kind of have an advantage through here having a mountain bike because it was a little sandy. It was hard packed, but definitely loose and could squirrel out if you weren't careful. Some chunky rocks here and there. I was like, I'll get up this punchy climb because I didn't know that there was a huge climbing coming at the end because I never pre-rode this section. And here's the climb out of the Hunter's Creek Hunt Club. It reminded me of Icebreaker at the end of Iceman, honestly. I didn't hate it. I kind of was not happy about it in the moment. But there goes my teammate going up it. He's a much stronger climber than I am. I didn't have the power to keep the RPMs high in a harder gear. I think I got all the way up into my granny gear on this. You can see the grade just going up there at the bottom. I'm like 10% right now, 11%. Like this is a steep climb. And it was a long one. Now we're hitting 14%. Yeah, this hurt this late in the race. Hear me just struggling. Just falling off the bike. I'm going so slow. But I was keeping my RPMs up, which is what I wanted, so my legs wouldn't get as tired. Just because I didn't know how the hills were once you got back into the D-Bar A. I could have probably pushed a lot harder through here and been okay, but not knowing the course, I'd always waiting, holding back just a little bit of energy because you never know what's going to happen. Probably a bad strategy, but I just like to make sure I'm not bunking before the end of a race. This section kind of had me messed up because we're coming downhill. I could see people on bikes and lights blinking, looked like they're coming at me. I wasn't sure who was going to get here first. And so I wasn't thinking, I need a downshift. So I ended up being way too hard of a gear for that climb right there, and you can hear it crunching all the way up. And then this is in the last bit, and it's single track, getting back to the main road, which I thought was kind of cool. They had some single track in the gravel race, and it was not technical single track. It had some bumps and some tight turns. Definitely be fun to do a mountain bike race out here. Caught back up to my teammate here, which was cool.
Oh, should have stopped at my camper right there.
Right?
Last little bit of the race here before we get into the end.
Together.
All right.
All right, coming into the finish corral here, and I start sprinting as hard as I can to push. It's funny, I felt like I was flying and pulling pretty far ahead in front of my teammate. Figured he was going to try to sprint to pass me, but he really didn't have it. But he kept up with me through my sprint. So, yeah, that was the Spring R&R. It was hard, it was rough, and I had a lot of fun, but yeah, like I said, it was rough. Thanks for watching.